The reality is, if you want to close more deals, you got to have more conversations and you got to do it more methodically. And when you do it more methodically, the opportunities start to compound. The wins start to compound.
Welcome to the Onsite podcast. We chat with contractors, educators, industry professionals about the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. So without further ado, let's fucking get into it.
All right, welcome back to the Onsite podcast, episode 4 of the 8-part series about contractor control. And today's episode is about conversations that win the job. Okay, so actually just recently, earlier, about a few minutes ago, I got off the call with a manager of a large corporate business, and he was screaming to me all their different policies and what they have to follow this and they have to follow that. And then I explained, I said, can I give you some feedback? I shared my feedback on my thoughts, and I made it about the personal experience. I made it about the service that they're providing. I made it about my experience with the service. And the person on the other end just was literally like a blank wall. And they're on a phone call, obviously, but literally just felt like a blank wall. And they're just following the process of corporate bullshit. Now, why is this relevant to the conversation today? Well, it's relevant because you're dealing with humans, and humans have a unique connection to the experience, to the emotion of whatever it is that they're doing or looking to hire you to do. And so the conversation is literally life-changing because the conversation ultimately determines whether or not you win the job or you lose the job. So many contractors try to organize themselves and put all these policies and all this bullshit on everything. And I think it's all very, very important. I think the policies, I think that systems, I think that all that stuff is important. But I think that the way you formulate those need to be revolved around your client and the experience that they're having. And if they're not having a good experience, don't force your shit on them because it won't work. So I'm excited to dig into this episode with you. This could be a good one just because I'm a little bit heated up. So that's good. And I only get heated up when I just have to deal with stupid shit. You know, when I find that there's a bit of overreach. So I'm excited to dig into this with you. Thank you so much for tuning into the episodes. We also, just to be clear, we also have already recorded the episodes following these eight episodes. And we've got some incredibly exciting episodes coming up in the future. And I just want to thank you so much for being so loyal to this. And if you're part of our community, awesome. If you're not, literally it's $49 a month, or you can fucking try it for free. All you got to do is just go to ebsworks.com. So if you want to be a part of our community, you want to change your life and your business, okay, you want to go get running in the right direction, we're here to help you. All right, so let's talk about sales, okay? Because without sales, there's no business. And a lot of times contractors feel uncomfortable with, approaching this with, a salesy framework because they feel like they don't like to be sold to either. And so they ultimately kill themselves by not being hungry enough. The guy who's hungry, the guy who has systems in place, the guy who has a process, he's probably a little bit more hungry than you, and he's positioning this like a transaction. And so you have to get uncomfortable with it. You have to build a system. You have to understand that the words that you use throughout the entire project or throughout the entire sales process with that client, put the proposal in front of them, they all matter. And if you're not methodic with it, it's ultimately the difference of winning or losing a job. The way your clients respond to you and the way you respond to them dictate the outcome, change the energy. These things ultimately dictate success or failure. So most contractors generally in the early stages of this whole thing, just like what I was talking about with that large corporate business, they force their formulated process on the client. And their formulated process is derived from input that they get from their friends that are in other industries, or, things that they learn on YouTube or books that they've read. They just build these systems, build these processes without thought, without consideration to your client. And then when you put it on someone, you get rejection. Just because the book says do this doesn't mean that doing this will actually work. Doing this needs to match with the type of person you are. People are buying from people. In this industry, they are buying from people right now, for now. That could change. That could completely change. And I see it changing. I don't know when, but not right now. So people are currently buying from people. And if you control the conversation mindfully of the client's expectations as the main objective, exceeding your client's expectations should be your main objective, nothing else. If you solve a big enough problem, the money will follow. And so look at your systems. Okay. Are you getting pushback from your clients along the way? Because every time you get a point of pushback, it doesn't mean, oh, that's a shitty client. It means your system maybe has a hole in it. Your shit maybe isn't as good as you think it is. So this can affect literally everything down the line. It affects the energy on site when you're talking to your clients about the project. They could be dried up and not interested in you right away just because you're projecting something on them. You need to listen. Most of the conversations that you have with your clients, I want you to do a little bit of an inventory. If you're talking, and this is going to be really hard for you to do, but if you're talking more than 60% of the time, even 50%, if you're talking more than 50% of the time, you're trying to sell to your client. You're not trying to get them to buy from you. The true reality is they need to be able to want to buy from you. You can't sell to them because maybe they're not interested even in whatever it is that you're selling. Just because they called you, just because you're in their home, doesn't mean they want to buy your shit. You start projecting this on them, they could dry up. They could be like, no, this is not what actually I want to do, right? Instead, position the conversation so that they want to buy from you. And so if you're talking too much throughout the entire conversation, in that discovery session, if you're talking too much and your client isn't explaining to you why they want whatever it is that they want, then it's a missed opportunity. Sometimes contractors spend so much time just selling everything. This is what I do. I got this. I do this. These are all the fancy things that we do. Oh, we're so great. Nobody fucking cares. Okay. The client is not going to buy that shit. They are going to buy what they've absorbed prior. You're there to reaffirm what they've gathered from you prior to you being there in their home. So when you are in front of your client, you've had a chance to build rapport, because that's the process. You go in, you build rapport, you have a conversation with them, you find a relatable conversation. This is maybe in the first minute or less. They feel comfortable. They've opened up to you, right? Then they point you in the direction about what they're going to be doing. What the client is actually hoping you will say after they've explained, what they're looking to do is your method on how you're going to help them do that. How are you going to help them solve that problem? Every time you give them some type of objection, you can't do this, you can't do that, that's not going to happen, we can't do this, your budget's not enough. If you start throwing that shit out there, they are drying up the whole time, literally drying up. All they want to hear is, let's just say hypothetically it's budget. Right? Somebody's talking about budget and they're like, well, we're looking to do a main floor renovation, remodel, whatever it might be. And, our budget's kind of light. So they're using language that you need to be mindful of. Our budget's kind of light and, but we really want to upgrade this and our goal. And then the wife pipes up, I really want the stone countertops, or whatever it might be. You have to listen to them. If their budget is light and they really want the stone countertops, but maybe they can't afford the cabinets that they're trying to get, then find a way to get them the cabinets that they can afford and give them the stone that they want, right? And so what they want to hear from you is how you're going to help them bring this thing to life that's in their head. And if you don't ask enough questions to extract that is in their head, then you're going to project your opinion about what you think they should do. And then they're just going to be like, oh yeah, that's what I want. No, it's not how it works. Like, the majority of the time, that's not how it works. You have to listen to your client, and then you have to find a way to help them get the specifics that they're dreaming of, because otherwise you're just sitting there spinning your tires, trying to project shit that they don't want.
Hey, we've got an ad here. Make sure to pay attention. What's up, guys? Are you a contractor or business owner looking to take things to the next level? Well, I've got something for you. The Elite Builder Society is a community that helps contractors grow and scale. For $49 a month, you can have access to 20 group coaching calls. Look, you're probably wondering, how am I going to show up to 20 calls, Brandon? That's a lot. And yeah, it is a lot for $49 a month. But every call is recorded so you can watch it at your leisure. But you get the best experience when you're live on the call with us. Okay, at the end of every webinar, there will be a Q&A where you can ask the industry expert questions that you can implement into your business. Look, if you're ready to take things to the next level for $49 a month, go to ebsworks.com and register today. I look forward to seeing you inside the community.
So You can do all this without pressuring the client. You can do all this without those slimy sales tactics, with coming in low and then creating change orders and all that kind of stuff later. You can do this by just being confident in your process, confident in your abilities, confident in your people, and confident in your ability to make decisions and solve problems. So the best way to communicate this back to your client is identify the items that they want. Identify the most important parts. Maybe it's a different project. Maybe it's a roofing project and they're really focused on cleanliness. Reaffirm whatever it is that they're fixated on, that you will help them get that. There's no way that in that entire process, whatever it might be, whether it's, a remodel, an electrical upgrade, a plumbing upgrade, an HVAC upgrade, a paint upgrade, flooring upgrade, roof upgrade, exterior upgrade, doesn't matter what the service is. Inside of that service, there are very, very, very particular items that the client is going to be fixated on. And your job is to reaffirm that you got it, right? That you got it. And then you project that back to them. So they say, this is what I want. And you say, this is how I'm going to help you do that. And they're going to be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you're not just going to say the generic way. You have to say the specialist, you're a specialist. You have to explain it in a way that adds a little bit more flavor to it, makes it a little bit more outside of their comprehension, but also gives them the reassurance that you got this shit figured out, that you've done this before, or maybe you show them that you've done it before. They just want proof. They're calling you because they don't know if they want to hire you, and they have other quotes, and maybe it's down to price. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's down to trust. And so sometimes if you rush this process, or you feel like you're really trying to dig in and control it, you'll fumble it. Okay, so rushing the conversation ultimately will backfire this entire thing for you. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you've identified. If you rush this, you will not identify those fundamental areas within their requirements, within their requests. And if you fumble that, I promise you'll lose the job, because you'll be projecting your opinion about what you think they need. And what you think they need and what they actually want is always going to be different. It's always different. So if you rush that part, if you rush those questions, if you don't ask the right questions, then you went there for nothing. You got in your truck, you drove to wherever it might be, you've gathered information, you had a conversation, you responded to emails, responded to a phone call or text or whatever it might be, you sat in their home, you talked to them about their project, all for nothing. And there's a good chance, because they're humans, they're not going to tell you in that moment that they're not into working with you. They're just going to be like, I'm not really into that guy. Well, honey, he's going to put together an estimate and send it to us. Okay, cool. I'm still not into it. It doesn't matter. Just because you get your information, check, got information, check, measurements, check, budget, check. You take all your shit, you go back, put the proposal together, email it off to them with hopes and dreams that you're actually going to get something which you're not, and then you're just like, well, what the fuck? Why don't they want to work with me? I thought it went really good. It didn't go good because you didn't ask enough questions. You didn't ask the right questions. You rushed the entire process. So slow down, ask the right questions, learn about your customer and what they want, so that you can give them exactly what they're expecting. So there's two types of contractors in my mind in this situation, or business owners, remodelers, whatever you want to call it. Two types of owners. And the first owner is the one that has done this before. Okay. The one that has been here before. They know what to say, or they think they know what to say. They show a layer of confidence, which comes off reassuring and gives the client the confidence necessary to move forward. The other guy may be newer. Maybe he's never done it before. And so maybe he starts talking too much. Maybe he starts rambling. Maybe he starts going off. Maybe he starts, under explain. Maybe he starts saying things that aren't true. Maybe he starts talking himself into a corner. And it's only because he doesn't know what he's talking about. And so sometimes people try to sell too much, right? The client is going to buy. They want to buy. They are in a buying mode. They called you to buy. Now your job is to seal the deal, not to try to sell them on anything. They want to buy from you. So you have to affirm them that you're capable of helping them bring whatever it is to life. And so those two types of contractors, or remodelers, business owners, whatever you want to call it, find themselves losing more opportunities than not, because they try to sell and they don't try to listen. And so if you can just stay calm, you can just stay confident, even if you're new to this. Okay. The name of the game is say less, let them talk more. Ask the right questions and just stay calm. Don't over project what you think you're capable of. Over promise. Don't over promise anything. Never over promise anything, because there will be things that you've over promised that they will be hyper fixated on. You said you were going to do this. Oh, well, we couldn't do that in our budget. Well, you said you were going to do this. Well, no, I can't do that now because we don't have the budget for it. Right. And so those things matter. Like what you say matters. And just because it's not important to you doesn't mean it's not important to them. So stay calm, ask more questions, talk less, and organize the conversation. You're in control. You're the authority. This is your space. They are trying to hire you. You're not trying to sell to them. This isn't door-to-door sales. You didn't go to their door and try to sell. I mean, that's a different business model, but it still fundamentally gets the client into a buying position, right? Imagine you're going to a door cold and you're like, hey, do you want to buy a vacuum? No, they don't want to fucking buy a vacuum. They do not want to buy a vacuum, Like that is a selling position. When a client calls you and they're like, hey, can you come look at my house to do X, Y, and Z? They're in a buying position. And so if they're in a buying position, your job is to control the conversation to close the fucking deal. Because 50% of it's already been done for you. I'm talking with a few of the guys that I work with because, we've got lots of quotes out on the table, lots of people that we're working with. We want to close, right? You want to close. That's the job, right? And I'm here. I'm listening to you because you're like, fuck, okay, I'm doing all these things, Brandon. I'm trying. And I get to the point where it's just like, I don't know where it's at. I don't know where the conversation's at. I want you to just breathe for a second. I want you to breathe and I want you to understand that you're in control, okay? You have to believe that you're in control. And if you carry that sense of confidence and you provide your clients with the reassurance that you're in control, that you will bring this together and that they respect you, then there's a high probability that they'll use you. If you're overcharging, that's on you, right? If you charge a fair price, you deliver great work, you communicate effectively, you've got great organization, you've got great systems, you got great reviews, you prioritize your client, there's a good chance you'll get the job. Because good people want to work with good people. Shitty people want weird fucking things, right? And so you have to be able to identify those types of people as well. But we're not talking about shitty people in this episode. We're talking about providing your clients with the reassurance and the understanding that you're in control. And so all you have to do in order to give the client the reassurance is enter everything with confidence. Build confidence. Talk to your phone. If you're uncomfortable with something, you can figure out what you're uncomfortable with. It could be irrelevant to this. Just talk to your phone. Go join a group. Go get on stage and talk. Go do things that are uncomfortable, right? Like do things like that because those things like that are what give you more confidence that you're capable of doing things. And so then when you're in this, in this environment that you're now more comfortable in, right? And you understand the process, that will come off and it will give the clients the reassurance. That energy, that aura that will come from you will ooze confidence and provide reassurance for your customers.
What's up, guys? I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Onsite Podcast. So here's the deal. We want to grow this show and we need your help. It's simple. Pay the tax, share the show. That's it. Let's get back into it.
Okay, so, if this has been helpful, okay, if this episode has been helpful for you, there are still 4 more episodes where we're trying to help you gain control of the conversation, gain control of the opportunity, gain control of closing deals. Because you have to carry a certain level of confidence that you're in control. I understand it's uncomfortable. You're walking into a stranger's home. I understand it's uncomfortable talking to people that you've never met. I understand that it's uncomfortable because maybe you've been fucked over before and so now your guard's up. I understand all of that because I've lived it. But the reality is if you want to close more deals, you got to have more conversations and you got to do it more methodically. And when you do it more methodically, the opportunities start to compound. The wins start to compound. There is a process to everything. Whenever you get a form of rejection, it is an opportunity for you to look at yourself and say, what do I need to do differently so that rejection or that objection doesn't exist again? And if there's objection or rejection coming from a red flag client, then that's okay too. But you need to be able to identify those types of processes, okay? In our next episode, we're going to be talking about price, okay? And we're going to be, I don't know what that episode's going to look like. Maybe I'll bring on someone. Maybe we'll do some price objection handling. I don't know, but I think that's going to be an exciting episode because everyone has always said that they lost a job because of price. Yeah, am I wrong? I've even done it. Oh, it's because of price. Well, no, it's not. It's not because of price in most cases. It's because of something that you've done earlier on. And so the next episode, we're going to dig into price, client price objections. And so I will try to find a way to make this episode just very unique, very different. I don't know if it includes, maybe some role playing with some people. I don't know, but I'll talk to my community and we'll get a sense of what this looks like. And maybe we can bring a bunch of other guys to the call and they can throw out their typical situations and we'll just role play. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but at the end of the day, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting the podcast, supporting the community, supporting everything that we're doing. We are literally just trying to help contractors grow their business and become more successful. Why? Because when I started, it was fucking really hard. It was hard. I was lonely. And the people that surrounded me were people that were in different industries that didn't understand my industry. And because they were in different industries and didn't understand my industry, they would project their opinions, their thoughts, their input on how I should operate my business and ultimately misguiding me. So if this has been helpful, make sure to follow along, comment, give us some reviews, all the kind of things. Share it out there, because if you don't share the show, what are we doing here? So I just want to say thank you so much. That is all for this episode. Episode 5, I'm going to get creative. I'm going to find a way for it to be super unique and different. And thank you, everyone, for supporting. All right, that concludes this episode of the Onsite Podcast. Remember, if you enjoyed this episode, please pay the tax, share the show. Guys, if you want to be a part of the Elite Builder Society, all you got to do is pay $49 a month. That's it. $49 a month. You get 20 group coaching calls every month. Okay? Go to ebsworks.com and register today. If you enjoyed the show, please pay the tax and share the show.